At first glance, it may not seem like a bus and a bike have very much in common, but in fact, they share a lot of things.
Both can reduce the number of cars on our roads and cut fuel usage.
Both are usually in the same space on the roadway.
The right lane.
Both have slower than average speeds than other vehicles on the road.
Perhaps the greatest thing that buses and bicycles share is that they're both operated by people.
People who share the same rights and responsibilities on the road.
People who face challenges as they get from point A to point B.
People who share a high stake in safety and make choices that can promote or compromise that safety.
This video is designed to help bus operators and bicyclists make safe choices in traffic, preventing crashes and saving lives. In Chicago,
we share the road.
When buses and bikes are sharing road space, there are a number of things to keep in mind. Bicyclists have the right to ride in the street, even if there are no marked bike lanes. Bicyclists typically position themselves just to the right of faster-moving traffic on the roadway.
Buses constantly move in and out of traffic, usually traveling in the right lane and pulling over to the right to make service stops. This means that bicyclists and bus operators share the same space on the road, constantly crossing paths.
Bus operators, don't drive in bike lanes unless you are about to pull into a service stop or preparing to turn.
Always assume that bicyclists could be on your right. Always use your turn signal when getting ready to pull over. Check your mirror. If you see a bicyclist parallel to the bus, slow down and let them get ahead of you before pulling over.
Remember that when car traffic backs up, bicyclists often have a clear path to proceed quite quickly on your right side.
Bicyclists, remember that buses are in the business of stopping, and if you think a bus in front of you might stop, play it safe. Slow down and let the bus pull over in front of you. You can either wait for them to complete the service stop and proceed behind them, or merge with moving traffic and pass them on the left. Never pass a bus on the right. Bicyclists should position themselves in a lane so that they can be seen well by all other traffic and avoid hazards at the roadside. Biking in the gutter area or very close to the curb poses many dangers for a bike rider. There are metal grates to avoid along with all sorts of debris. And riding next to parked cars puts you at risk of being hit by an opening car door. Avoid putting yourself in a position where you'll need to make any sudden movements. Swerving or any sudden maneuver won't give the bus operator time to react. Ride predictably and establish your position at least 2 feet from the curb and 3 feet from the door zone.
If you do see a bicyclist riding close to the curb or next to the parked cars, remember that the bike rider may suddenly swerve into traffic to avoid something.
Bus operators should expect and respect cyclists who position themselves safely on the roadway.
Let's talk a little bit about passing. Whether it's a bus passing a bike or a bike passing a bus, this is a time when extra care is needed.
Bus operators, when passing a bicyclist on the road, maintain steady speed and do not accelerate. Remember that you must allow safe clearance between your bus and a bike. That's a minimum of 3 feet. If traffic allows, leave more space. If there isn't enough room for you to pass, you must slow down, stop, and wait for clearance.
Cyclists, when you are passing a bus, you must also leave at least 3 feet between your bike and the bus.
If there's about 3 feet of space between the bus and the bike should be visible in the mirrors. Operators, make sure your mirrors are adjusted so you can see the bikes traveling on either side of your bus.
Again, bicyclists should never pass a bus on the right. A bus moving toward the curb could easily knock you over. And of course, passing on the right endangers people getting on and off the bus. Always merge with traffic to pass on the left. Never split lanes to get ahead of a bus. Be careful. You know that at some point the bus is going to leave the bus stop and enter traffic. Remain visible and alert.
Bus operators, if you are about to pass a cyclist, do not assume that they will hear the bus approaching. Remember, the engine is in the rear of the bus. It is likely that they will not hear the bus until it is beside them. This can be very startling. Another reason to leave is safe clearance. Remember the bike rider you have just passed. Customers often request a stop just as the bus passes a cyclist. As you signal and before you move to the right, make sure you know where the bike rider is. Do not move to the right if there is any possibility that they will be positioned between your bus and the curb. The better practice is to keep the bicyclist in front of you unless you are absolutely certain that you can pass safely. Do not stop shortly after passing. Allowing the biker to stay in front of you keeps them visible and in a safe location when you need to make a safe stop.
For the bike rider, if the bus stays behind you, understand that this is for your own safety. Ride at your pace and remain in a well-visible portion of the lane. But if the bus does pass you, stay alert and watch to see if the bus is going to stop.
Intersections can be a major conflict point for bus operators and bicyclists.
At many busy intersections, bike lanes end to allow for turn lanes, meaning cyclists must merge with motorized traffic.
Bus operators, be aware of this and yield to merging bicyclists. Give them plenty of room.
To a bike rider, waiting in traffic at an intersection can be very stressful and dangerous. While waiting for a green light, we're often breathing a lot of exhaust. We're less visible to drivers because we're surrounded by vehicles, and those vehicles can accelerate much faster than we can as soon as the signal changes. For these reasons, a lot of cyclists feel safer waiting at the front of the line where they are more visible to motorists.
Bus operators, be aware of cyclists moving through stopped traffic to the front of the intersection on either side of your bus. Be sure to check your mirrors before you pull back into traffic. Remember, safety first.
And cyclists, if you do choose to move up to the front for safety, don't put yourself at greater risk in the process of getting there. Don't split lanes to get ahead. Stay at least 3 feet from any vehicle. Be patient and never pass a bus on the right.
One of the most important things for both bike riders and bus operators to understand is how buses turn. Watch how a bus makes a right turn. The bus operator should deploy a right turn signal. In order to avoid having the rear wheels drive over the curb, a bus needs to angle out at least 10 feet before beginning the actual turn.
Bike riders, this can look like the bus is going straight through the intersection. Look for the bus operator's turn signals and never position yourself to the right of a bus at an intersection. Be patient, be sure of the operator's intent. Even if the bus is going straight, it might not merge with traffic. Instead, it could pull over at a far side service stop. You might not realize the bus operator's intention until you get cut off at the curb. So ride defensively and either wait behind the bus or merge with traffic to pass on the left.
Bus operators, assume it is possible cyclists may be approaching on your right. Always signal before turning or pulling over. Look in your mirror and look through the door and side windows. If you see a cyclist between your bus and the curb, slow down or stop. Let them get ahead of you before proceeding. Just as you're about to begin the actual turning maneuver, check again.
Bicyclists, when it comes to intersections, one of the most dangerous things you can do is turn right across the path of a bus. You never know when the bus will leave the curb and start pulling out into traffic. And you're not just endangering yourself. If the bus operator has to slam on the brakes, you're endangering any standing passengers. You're also endangering pedestrians who might be starting to cross the street in front of the bus. Wait for the bus to pass before turning, and always signal your intent to turn.
Let's talk about left turns. When a bus makes a left turn, it has to cross a path of oncoming traffic. The operator has to watch to make sure traffic is cleared. However, sometimes the cars and trucks that the bus operator is watching can hide a bike rider from the bus operator's view. When the oncoming traffic clears, pause and make sure that there is no approaching bike that was hidden in traffic. And check the sidewalk area for kids on bikes. Another thing to remember when turning is the bike rack in front of the bus. Having a bike rack extended will change the turning radius. You will need more room to make a turn. Make sure you allow for added distance. And be careful not to block crosswalks with the bike rack.
Bike and ride racks are great. They let cyclists take a break and ride the bus for a part of a longer trip. They're really convenient during bad weather or if your bike breaks down unexpectedly. And there's no additional charge to use them. Here's how. First, remove any items that could fall off your bike. Don't leave things like bags and bike locks hanging from any part of the bike. As the bus approaches, stay on the curb until it comes to a complete stop. Make eye contact with the bus operator.
Operators, place the bus in neutral and apply the parking brake before allowing customers to store their bikes or remove them from the bike rack.
Lower the rack by squeezing the handle. Lift your bicycle so that it fits in the empty wheel well. Load the rack nearest the bus first with the front wheel facing the curb. Swing the support arm over the front of the tire to hold the bicycle in place. Do not lock your bike to the rack.
Operators, pay attention while the cyclist loads his or her bicycle onto the rack. Make sure it is properly loaded before proceeding. Offer verbal assistance to any customers who are unfamiliar with the procedure. When you have a bike on the rack, remember that a customer is going to exit and walk in front of the bus to unload the bike. Watch for this customer and watch for anyone who may step in front of the bus to store their bike or remove it from the rack.
If you have your bike on the rack, keep an eye on it. Help the bus operator ensure your safety. As you leave the bus, exit from the front door and tell the operator you will be removing your bike from the rack.
Hi, I'm getting my bike off the rack.
Okay, watch your step and have a great day, sir.
Thank you very much. You have a good one.
You do the same.
Raise the rack back up when it's empty.
Communication is the key to safety. A friendly reminder, a turn signal, a wave, or even a smile can prevent a dangerous situation.
Treating each other with courtesy,
Respect,
and patience will help ensure that we all get where we're going safely.
working together to make both bus and bike transportation safe
Is a job we all share.